get off the sidelines. Time to get in the game.
Oh my gosh, my arm is falling off. Doc, what do I do and what can I use naturally to help this? This is the common scenario question that people send me on my direct messages. I'm a little bit joking about the whole arm falling off thing, but it's a little bit true, right? So, in today's episode, I'm going to give you guys the top 10 natural remedy combos for some of the common ailments that we all face. Yay! Now, if this is your first time listening, I want to welcome you guys. This is a podcast all about health, and I try to give you guys easy to understand, actionable things that you can take away so that you can achieve optimal health. So, if this is your first time, consider subscribing. Hit that subscribe button. All right. Everywhere I look on social media, all the Instagram influencers they're all talking about these natural remedies, and rightfully so. I mean, if you look at our modern day um, pharmacopoeia, all of these drugs that's been being given out by our medical doctors in Western medicine have their roots, no pun intended, have their roots in natural medicine. Right? You look at every single civilization has had some type of natural healing system. There was no pharmaceutical company 3,000 years ago. All we had was the plants at our disposal, the animals that are at our disposal, and whatever little thing that we could muster up from the ground. That's all we had, and we've survived for thousands and thousands of years. And now, it's just probably over the last 100 years, we've become reliant on pharmaceutical drugs. And don't get me wrong, there is a place for pharmaceutical drugs. There's a place for that. But do we need that all the time? Is that, or should that be first line therapy? And most traditional medical schools have always taught that that's not a first line therapy. Hippocrates always said to one, look to the spine first in health or disease, and let thy food be thy medicine and thy medicine be thy food. He always said that, going from the least invasive to the most invasive. That's always been the tenet of any type of physician. So we're now seeing a movement that people actually want to learn about natural remedies. Now, some of that stuff out there, yeah, in my opinion, is snake oil. A lot of that stuff, people tout about that. And unfortunately, people fall for it. There's been books and documentaries written about some of these things. But, I mean, I've pretty much tested most of the things under the sun. Some of them do work, but they got some crazy side effects. So there are some natural remedies that do work, but you gotta face some of the side effects with that. So what I wanted to do in this episode was compile a list of my top 10 remedy combos. So I sat back and I thought about, like if a patient came in to my office and they asked me like, hey doc, what can I do for XYZ? What what is my common thought pattern of where would I go? And that's what we're going to talk about today. My first combo remedy is for immune support. So go back to, I think, episode 67, where I talked about my top 3 tips for immune support. But this is my combo stack that um, any patient that came in and they asked, hey, doc, what can I do to boost up my immune system? These are my these are my big guns. This is not like, hey, go take some vitamin C or eat some oranges to help your immune system. And by the way, you can't boost your immune system, by the way, so we got to stop saying that. I catch myself saying that sometimes, but you don't actually boost your immune system. You support your immune system, um, but you don't actually boost it. You don't actually want to boost it. Actually, that's what we call autoimmune issues. Anyhow, probably just semantics there, right? Anyhow, this is my stack. So I use a 3 stack for immune support: elderberry, turkey tail, and maitake. Right, so turkey tail and maitake are mushrooms. If you're not familiar with that, And this pretty much covers all of your bases. Other things like colostrum we'll throw in there as well, but right off the bat, you got flu season coming around. If you're, back to school stuff, that's a really big one. Elderberry, turkey tail, and maitake will help out a lot to support your immune system, as well as colostrum. If you can find, really good ones, good clean ones. Now, behind your immune support, we also always got to be talking about your gut, because you can't just take this combo stack and say, hey, you know what, my immune system's going to be protected. Well, you got to look at your gut. And with your gut, we also got to be looking at your stress levels. So, gut and stress levels, foundational, and then to support your immune system even more, using elderberry, turkey tail, and maitake. Okay, here's my stack for any type of digestive disturbances. So you got some digestive issues, this is where I would always lean towards. Okay, for digestive disturbances, digestive enzymes, DGL, or stands for deglycerized licorice, and peppermint oil. You use those three, you pretty much got your bases covered. Along with, sometimes you can use like ginger. Ginger's a really good one to calm any type of digestive disturbances. But those three digestive enzymes to break down your food, DGL is a soother. So if you got any type of, like, ulcerations and inflammation within your gut, DGL is going to help out a lot. And also, peppermint oil is a accommodative agent. And if you guys want to dive deeper into digestion, you should take my course, my Total Gut Restore program, because we get really into how to repair your gut. And your gut lies at the core of it all. Like in the previous tip I just talked about, immune support all starts in your gut. So digestive disturbances, again, peppermint oil, digestive enzymes, DGL, and ginger. Now, my third combo remedy is for candida. This is a fairly common issue that a lot of people face. And what we always use in practice is undesolenic acid. Okay, undesolenic acid is a little bit different than caprylic acid, which is commonly found in coconut oil. So undesolenic acid will clear out Candida albicans, and then we follow that up with a spore-based probiotic. The specific strain is Ganadin BC30. So again, Ganadin BC30, and then we would follow that up also with a broad spectrum probiotic. Okay. So we would clear first with undesolenic acid, and then we would start repopulating with the broad spectrum probiotic. And also, Ganadin BC30 has been shown clinically to eradicate Candida albicans by outcompeting it. So that's pretty much my baseline for getting rid of Candida. Now, again, the only reason why Candida proliferates is due to chronic stress and that your gut is out of balance. So we got to get those settled in first before we start diving into this other stuff. Okay? Because a lot of times people start to do this on their own and they're like, I've been taking 20 pills of undesolenic acid for the last 30 days and it's still not budging. Well, that means you haven't addressed the underlying causes of stress and gut disturbances. So we got to do that first, and then we follow that up with undesolenic acid, Ganadin BC30, and a broad spectrum probiotic. Now, my fourth natural remedy combo has to deal with urinary tract infections. So this is a fairly common thing and common issue that most women will talk to me about in practice. And it's fairly simple to the stack is fairly simple, but there's also underlying things. You guys are gonna hate me for saying this over and over, but there's always an underlying issue for why these things pop up. So the stack that we use is a combination of D-mannose. So this is the active ingredient, the active sugar compound that's found in cranberries, Problem is that a lot of times you get advice to drink cranberry juice, and that actually may proliferate the problem because the sugar content in cranberry juice would actually allow the bacteria to grow more. So D-mannose is the active sugar component found within cranberries that would actually kill off the bacteria causing the urinary tract infections. And then we use an herb called uva ursi. Right, so the combination of those two will get rid of the urinary tract infection. But the common reason behind all of that has to deal with, surprise, surprise, an imbalance in the gut. And whenever we say imbalance in the gut, we call that intestinal dysbiosis, which comes from stress. Okay, so anytime you have a chronic infection there, you have chronic amounts of stress. So you got to deal with that. If the infection is just lingering on, doesn't want to go away, so we got to deal with that first. If it's just an acute infection, D-mannose and uva ursi will take care of it fairly quickly. The top fifth remedy combo that I use in practice, and this may gross some of you guys out, but I get a lot of I get a lot of patients that come in with parasitic infections, and you should hear, maybe you should see, maybe you should see these stories because I do get pictures of patients sending me their parasitic infections. I know you may be eating lunch right now or dinner, when you're listening to this, but yeah, I get some pretty graphic pictures from patients over the past years about their parasitic infections. I get messages from people telling me about their parasitic infections, and it's a common thing, in the world that we live in now, where the majority of our food in the United States is coming from foreign countries, and the level of inspection is not there. We're being exposed to way more parasites than previous. So it's not uncommon for a lot of people to get a parasitic infection. Even if you're living in clean environments and you don't live in a, like in a parasitic infested world there. Parasites are very common. So we gotta treat that. And it is one of the core things that is a disruptor in your overall health. So if you never take care of underlying parasitic infection, your health's never going to pick back up. So how do we deal with parasitic infections? Okay, so there's an herb called wormwood, and we use papain, which is a digestive enzyme found in papayas. So wormwood along with papayas, sometimes you can grind up the papaya seeds along with the papaya fruit and take wormwood, and that clears it out. In my Total Gut Restore class, I give you guys a parasitic elimination protocol. And also, once you've eliminated the parasites, you also need to repair the damage that they've done. So that's also part of the Total Gut Restore protocol, is to repair the damage that's been done to the gut wall, because if you don't do that, your gut function's not going to be there. So parasitic infections, we got to use wormwood and papain. Number 6 has to do with pain reduction. Very common thing that people go through, right? My head is sore, my arm is sore, especially athletes, or the weekend warrior that has an aching low back, or maybe you just were doing some general housework and now your back is burning, or you got some aches and pains. Pain reduction is a common thing that everybody faces, or pain, I should say, and pain reduction is the one thing that people want. There's no wonder why we have an opioid crisis going on right now, because a lot of people are in huge amounts of pain. See pain clinics all over the place. And in my opinion, a lot of the things that's being prescribed for pain is just masking the underlying issue. And 90% of pain has to deal with some type of inflammatory issue. You know, so whenever a patient comes into me, especially for if they got a lot of pain, anywhere between, if it's on a scale of 0 to 10, if they're a 6 or above, we're always going to use this stack of proteolytic enzymes on an empty stomach, arnica, which is a homeopathic remedy, and also red light therapy. So that's the main foundation. There are some other things that we use as well, like kinesio tape, and we use fascial release and chiropractic manipulation. We do all those things, but the foundation behind that is using proteolytic enzymes to get rid of the inflammatory compounds coming from broken protein tissues. Arnica is a great homeopathic product that will just decrease inflammation, decrease pain. And then the red light therapy, I talked about that in my list of my top 10 favorite recommended products. So we use the Juve light. We also, in clinic, we have the Erconia low-level laser therapy, and there's different other laser therapies out there, and those are all effective at decreasing pain. So you can try that. And there's also another stack that you could use as well by alternating heat and ice. So using ice for about 20 minutes on, and then resting 20 minutes, and then putting on heat for another 20 minutes, and stacking that with this, as well as using like kinesio tape and other compressive devices, and make sure that you are moving. Never ever stay still unless you broke something, but you got to keep it moving. Is the more stationary you remain, the more this problem is going to kick up. So you got to keep it moving, as well as utilizing this stack that I just gave you. The seventh natural remedy combo has to deal with hormonal balance. This is another common inquiry I get on a daily basis through Instagram and direct messagings and all that. Doc, how do I balance my hormones? My hormones are out of whack. I feel all crazy. This is a common thing that I see in practice as well. Now, there are so many things that you can do for hormones. And if you've ever been on my Instagram, my stories, my Q&A stories, I always say that you need to take care of the liver before you start diving into start trying to balance out your hormones, because almost every single patient is going to have some type of what's called estrogen dominance, and you got to deal with that. And behind estrogen dominance always has some type of liver clearance issue where the liver's not clearing out estrogen fast enough. So you got these estrogen compounds that have not been metabolized, so which is basically keeping you in a state of what's called estrogen dominance. And within my course, the 4 pillars of weight loss, I dive into how to get your hormones back into balance, because that's one of the tenets of health. And if you want to lose weight, like I talked about in the other episode, you got to be balancing out your entire health metabolic pathway. So with hormonal balance, like I said, there's so many things that you can do, but one of the most effective ways that I've found, and it's worked time and time again, is chasteberry or Vitex. I have so many stories of patients who had severe hormonal imbalances, and once we work on their liver clearance, which always goes back down to, surprise, surprise, your gut function, and then we start utilizing Vitex, and then maybe if they need some type of bioidentical hormone replacement therapy, then we dive into that. But just clearing out the liver, getting the liver to function better, and then utilizing Vitex, chasteberry. I mean, we get some phenomenal, what people consider miraculous results just by doing that. So give that a try, if nothing else has seemed to be working. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention that maybe you've already been taking notes, as you should, because I always told you guys maybe you guys should get a notebook and take notes on my Instagram stories, and then also on my podcast and all the videos that I put out as well. Take some notes, but I've made it easy for you because you can actually go to the show notes, and you can actually download, have a PDF worksheet that you can download, and it has all of my different stacks and what we talked about in this episode. Now, my number 8 stack has to do with skin issues. A lot of people have skin issues like eczema, psoriasis, acne, all of that stuff, especially rashes. This is a very common one. So my stack for skin issues is very, very simple. Apple cider vinegar baths along with sunlight exposure. Very, very simple, very, very effective. And again, you're going to hate me for saying this again. If you have skin issues, you also have an underlying gut issue. So, in order to solve any skin issue, and care what it is, you got to be dealing with the gut in and of itself first, and then you got to deal with the skin issues. So you can do this in one of two ways. You can make a apple cider vinegar bath where you would take maybe like 2 bottles of those Bragg's apple cider vinegar liter bottles and dump that into the bath and then soak in that for about 15 to 20 minutes. Or you can dilute the apple cider vinegar in water and then use a washcloth and dab that on the areas that you need, and then also getting optimal and proper sunlight exposure. Okay, so you gotta be doing those things along with restoring the gut in order to get a big change. But I mean, you can get some type of relief just by doing that, the baths and then the sunlight, but a complete change. And if you've had this for a while, we got to be addressing the gut. Number 9 stack has to do with stress reduction. We live in a highly stressful environment, and I see people utilize they utilize stress reduction techniques that are actually detrimental. So this stack, if you're highly stressed, you got to be using this stack on a daily basis. Okay, if you can't manage the stress, and it's always there. So my stack for stress reduction is using reishi mushrooms, CBD oil, L-theanine, and also using binaural beats. So I talked about reishi mushroom, and I'll have a link to the ones that I like, along with all the rest of the stuff that I talked about here. CBD oil, can't even say that properly. CBD oil helps to calm your nervous system down. L-theanine is one of the active components found in green tea. That also helps a lot. And then binaural beats. I mean, you can actually go on like Spotify and find different binaural beats that you can listen to, and it'll calm your brain waves down and help you to relax. So I'd recommend you guys taking this stack probably in the evening. Not something you want to be taking in the morning and you're going to be sluggish through the rest of the day. Okay, so at about probably 8:30, 9 o'clock, start popping the reishi chocolate combo using some CBD oil and some L-theanine, and then listening to the binaural beats that will help you to calm your nervous system down. There are also some different meditation apps that I do like Happify is a really cool meditation app. I did a podcast interview with a company called Muse. So you guys can go and check out that podcast episode where I interviewed Muse, and what they do is it measures your brain waves and gives you a visual readout to kind of see where your brain waves are at. And then there's different things within their app that you can focus on that helps to slow your brain waves down. So that's another cool thing that you guys can look into as well. Muse. So again, the stress reduction stack is reishi, CBD oil, L-theanine, and binaural beats, and then also look into the Muse headband. All right, number 10, the last stack has to deal with fatigue. You may be fatigued after listening to this entire podcast, but fatigue is a very common issue that a lot of people face, especially the older generation, and even millennials. Or I see a lot of millennials reaching out to me, asking about, Doc, I'm just tired from when I wake up to the time I go back to bed. Okay, so fatigue has to deal with primarily your mitochondria. Now, there are other issues surrounding fatigue like iron, B12 and all that kind of stuff. But the majority of the issues surrounding fatigue has to do with your mitochondria, because your mitochondria is the one that produces the energy in your body. So this stack has to deal with helping your mitochondria out. So the stack involves molecular hydrogen, surprise, surprise, PQQ, ubiquinol, and a medicinal mushroom called cordyceps. Man, if you take this stack, you're going to feel like you drank a triple, quadruple espresso from Starbucks on steroids. Okay? Molecular hydrogen, PQQ, ubiquinol, and cordyceps. This is a great way to get your brain moving, get your body moving, and overall something that you can do that is an alternative to, I shouldn't say an alternative. I mean, this should be the thing that you use instead of your Starbucks fix. Sorry, Starbucks, not to try to take your business away, but prolonged use of a lot of these coffee derivatives and high amounts of sugar is not going to do your body so well. So you want to use this stack. Again, molecular hydrogen, PQQ, ubiquinol, and cordyceps. Wow, that was a lot of talking and a lot of thinking to do. Again, this is my top 10 natural remedy combos, my top 10 natural remedy stacks for some of the common ailments. So we went over immune support, digestive disturbances, candida, urinary tract infections, parasitic infections, pain reduction, hormonal imbalance to get your hormones back into balance, skin issues, stress, and fatigue. So again, head on over to our show notes, and then you can download the worksheet that I have prepared for you. Oh, you're asking where do you get the show notes? Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that, huh? The show notes can be found at tripleplayperformance.co/top 10 remedies. Again, tripleplayperformance.co/top 10 remedies. Now, if you liked all the things that we talked about in this episode of these different stacks for these common ailments, you guys should really think about joining our Wellness Warrior tribe, because we go deeper into the different stacks and different ways that I would go about treating certain ailments, and I want to give you guys the background behind that. So that's what we do within the Wellness Warrior tribe. We do a health topic once a month. It's almost like a mini webinar, mini training course that you'll get once a month. And we give you PDF files on health tips, affirmations, feng shui tips, and we give you recipes, different types of, we also dive into different types of ailments that we talk with certain members, what we call our laser coaching session, where we bring on one person, we dive deep into their issue. It's kind of like if you were a consulting client of mine, and we figure out what's going on and where what my course of action would be. It's just an overall really deep dive into, if you thought this was cool, it's a deeper dive into natural remedies and how you can help your body to get to its optimal state of wellness. So head on over to www.tripleplayperformance.co/WW So www.tripleplayperformance.co/WW and you can be able to watch a video that will explain what we're doing within the tribe and what the tribe is all about. So looking forward to seeing you guys within the tribe. And until next time, this is Dr. Mike signing off, saying be well and aloha. Hey, if you've enjoyed this podcast, leave us a 5-star review. Connect with me on Instagram at tripleplaydoc. Stay tuned for more episodes. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell the entire world. Till the next episode, be well and aloha.